What's up, everybody? I'm Sydnee Goodman, and in today's Daily Fix, Anthem says goodbye, Cyberpunk still feeling the effects of that cyber attack, and we learn more about Jonathan Kent. Roll the thing. After more than a year of internal overhaul on Anthem, EA and BioWare have decided to stop development on the 2019 action RPG. A moment of silence, please. The news came via a blog post from Anthem's executive producer, Christian Daly, where he explains that the decision to stop work on Anthem was motivated by a mix of a few things: the impacts of COVID-19 and wanting to shift focus to other BioWare projects like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Daly writes, quote, "I know this will be disappointing to the community of Anthem players who have been excited to see the improvements we've been working on. It's also disappointing for the team who were doing brilliant work." If you're still a member of the Anthem community, fear not, because the game's existing live service will continue to run for the foreseeable future. I can't say that this is very surprising, especially like Daly mentioned with the added complications of COVID. Anthem's launch was a bit of a disaster zone with a whole lot of bugs and just a bad overall player experience. And as our next story will prove, when you launch a game like that, it can be hard to come back from. But in Anthem's case, there was definitely a community interested in seeing it overhauled. In an interview with IGN, EA Chief Studios Officer Laura Miele says, quote, "We've believed in Anthem every step of the way. We've invested in this game for close to a decade, and we're proud of the work the team has done." Miele then went on to point to the unprecedented years 2020 and 2021 are proving to be, and that this decision, quote, "prioritizes both the player experience and what's best for the people working on these games." And that, quote, "focusing on these fan favorites," referring to the next Dragon Age, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and Star Wars The Old Republic, "is the best way that BioWare can serve its fans." Speaking of games that had rocky launches, Cyberpunk 2077 is due for its major 1.2 patch, but Projekt Red has announced on Twitter that following the cyber attack earlier this month, the patch is unfortunately delayed. A moment of silence, please. Their Twitter post also mentions that this new patch, quote, "goes beyond any of our previous updates," and luckily they provided their new target date and a vague description of what they hope the patch will accomplish. Quote, "We've been working on numerous overall quality improvements and fixes, and we still have work to do to make sure that's what you get. With that in mind, we're now aiming for release in the second half of March. It's not the news we enjoy sharing, but we want to make sure we launch this update properly. Stay tuned for more information as the time draws closer. Thank you for your continued patience and support." It's not ideal at all, given how many delays the actual game saw, but I do think CDPR gets a pass here considering the cyber attack, and I'm sure the reallocation of energy and resources having to adjust after that. Is it punk to hack Cyberpunk? The answer is no. Don't do it. Bear with me for a second because this is going to be a slight tangent, but this does get me thinking. Today we're talking about two games that promised big creative and technological risks: Anthem and Cyberpunk 2077.
Welcome to the next generation of open-world adventure. Immerse yourself in Cyberpunk 2077.
And they both had extremely rocky launches. One still proved profitable, one didn't. I'm wondering what this means for games going forward. For a while it felt like whenever games were being announced, it was one after another of like you've never seen before, and really pushing the limits of technology and immersion.
Yet with every new project, we set out to make our games bigger, more complex, deeply engaging.
I am all for pushing the boundaries, by the way, but I'm curious if the combination of these games' shortcomings and the rising cost of game development will temper studios' openness to take big risks and make the next big thing. I think we'll definitely continue to see growth within video games and immersion, but maybe it'll be within existing IP or more incremental improvements rather than these grand leaps that are promised. Or maybe it's more about addressing the overpromising part of games marketing, as well as studios creating more realistic timelines that allows for these games to have more seamless, successful launches. All this to say, you already know I'm not a game developer, and this has been Sydnee thinking about things. What if you found out your dad was the most popular superhero in the world? Well, like most 15-year-olds, you'd probably die of embarrassment. But could those superhero powers be hereditary? And what would a 15-year-old with the power of flight and X-ray vision be like? We'll find out when we return to Smallville in this segment presented by the CW's Superman and Lois. Meet Jonathan Kent. Like his twin brother Jordan, his life was upended when his parents moved them from the big city to his father's hometown. He was a star football player in Metropolis, but wonders whether he will even make the Smallville team. And, oh yeah, he's also the son of Superman. He just doesn't know it yet. What'll happen when he learns the truth about his dad? Does he have Kryptonian abilities of his own? And can he live up to the legacy of his namesake, Jonathan Kent, aka Superman's Earth Dad? Find out by catching new episodes of Superman and Lois Tuesdays at 9/8 Central, or catch up and stream it free on the CW app. And as a Daily Fix, I'm Sydnee Goodman, and I hope your day is as awesome as you are. Now that you're all caught up on the news, check out our review of Curse of the Dead Gods. Download the IGN app on all your mobile devices, subscribe to Daily Fix on Snapchat, and for all things everything else, IGN.com.